The illegal who raped and killed a mother of 5 has been convicted on all charges. Also, her mother speaks out at a White House press conference. Let's check it out.
Martinez Hernandez has been found guilty on all charges following the rape and murder of Harford County mother Rachel Morin.
The jury deliberated less than an hour today, and the illegal immigrant from El Salvador now faces life in prison. Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor says the verdict should be a message to Washington.
We need our government to work as efficiently as this investigation and this prosecution to work together and take the politics out of it and fix the immigration system in this country and keep our communities safe.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Vincent Hill.
And I'm Maxine Stryker. This case has grabbed national attention over the past 18 months.
Yeah, Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has more on the fallout from today's verdict.
Following weeks of emotional testimony, it took 12 jurors under an hour to find the suspect guilty of premeditated first-degree murder in addition to rape and kidnapping. The conviction likely going to put Martinez Hernandez behind bars for the rest of his life.
I think the quickness of the verdict speaks to the strength of the evidence in the case.
A chilling crime, shaking Harford County's quiet community to its core. On August 5th, 2023, Rachel Morin, a mother of 5 and exercise enthusiast, took to Bel Air's well-traveled Ma and Pa walking trail for a run she'd never returned from.
Rachel fought for her life as she was pulled 150 feet from the main trail into the woods.
State's Attorney Allison Healy calling 30 witnesses to testify over 7 days, attempting to tie Victor Martinez Hernandez to the murder. Among the mountain of evidence presented by the prosecution, hundreds of crime scene photos. These evidence markers tracking a trail of blood from the Ma and Pa's main path to the tunnel drain, where Morin's body was found brutally beaten. A state medical examiner testifying Morin's injuries suggest she fought back, but was strangled, hit over the head 10 to 15 times, presumably with a rock, and likely unconscious when raped.
I cannot imagine what she was going through at that moment and why anybody what would possess somebody to do that to another human being.
Forensic expert later testifying Martinez Hernandez's DNA was found on Morin's Apple Watch, wrist, neck, and chest. Jurors also watching the suspect's initial interrogation. Martinez Hernandez telling local law enforcement his DNA was planted. He doesn't know Morin. He's never been to Maryland, and he doesn't know anyone who lives there. This despite searches for Morin found on his phone, and his own family and former co-workers testifying he worked and lived within a mile of the trail.
While no verdict or sentence can ever bring Rachel back, I am proud of the work that was done to ensure that justice was served and that Victor Martinez Hernandez will never again be a threat to another woman in his lifetime.
Embracing Healy outside the courthouse, Morin's half-sister, Erin Morin-Lehman.
I just feel very relieved. It's been a long road.
And Matt McMahon, the father of Morin's oldest child, Faye.
If Rachel were here, she'd only care about her kids right now.
Both beyond grateful for the guilty verdict, and now praying for a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
At sentencing, the state intends to seek the maximum penalty allowable by law.
Victor Hernandez, he preyed on women, overpowering them. And I am so grateful that there were so many powerful women.
Imagine living next to this guy or working side by side with this dude and finding out he raped and killed somebody and bashed her over the head with a rock. That's terrifying stuff to know that somebody like that can be next to you in your daily life.
That took the power from him. You have Allison Healy, you have the judge, you have her daughter who was brave enough to be the first witness, you have the arresting patrol officer. I mean, there's just so many powerful women that took everything from Victor, and I'm grateful that they were able to do that.
Sentencing is expected to take place 2 to 3 months from now. As he has throughout the trial today, Martinez Hernandez showing no emotion, no visible reaction to the jury's decision. In Harford County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Hi, I'm Maxine Stryker. Thanks for watching.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I want to get to the victim's mother speaking as a guest at the White House, telling her story, detailed description of what happened in that situation. So this is 8 minutes long. If you want to watch it, stick around. This is very sad to watch, but I think it's important that people hear this.
A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England.
Some place that, it's supposed to be kind of like your safe place. Places like that you go to have peace, take a walk and take in nature, spend time with your family. You're supposed to feel safe with doing that, not somebody plotting against you to take you and do harm to you. That's ridiculous.
When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body.
Oh.
Against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her.
That is horrifying. This is my first time watching this all the way through. So I'm learning this as you're learning if you have not seen this before. But what a horrific scene, image of your child.
As he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And it went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles, because of how strong and violent the group was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures, because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country. These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? I don't understand why there's even any kind of problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children.
Yes.
I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart. That's what it feels like. It feels like...
You know, in the left-wing media, CNN, MSNBC, they went away from this. They turned away whenever she came on to speak, which is very sick. Newsmax, Fox News, they played this. But, yeah, CNN, MSNBC spent no time on this. They covered the guy who got deported to the alleged MS-13 member, wife beater. They covered that story way more than this.
It's like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledge my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tough to watch. Very tough to watch. Can't imagine what she's going through. The right thing to do with the senator, the right thing to do would have been to meet with this woman and tell her how sorry he is for what happened to her daughter. Not go down to El Salvador and fly down to try to bring somebody back who is ties, according to multiple sources, judges, DHS, police departments, that this guy has ties to MS-13. There is no reason to do that, to go down there. You should be talking to this woman right here and give your condolences to her. Because like she said, it's not a political, it shouldn't be political to keep the country safe and to not let millions of people pour across the border. Look, just because you come here illegally does not mean you want to cause harm. Not everybody is like this maniac who did this. This was like one of the most horrific things anybody could. This is unimaginable. Like the worst possible way you could, the worst possible thing you could do to a woman because you want to get laid. Because you're too much of a loser and a scumbag, an evil scumbag, to have any kind of know-how to deal with people, to talk to people. You are such a loser. You have to go this route to get laid. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, you have, I mean, seriously, get on the apps, man. Just go talk to somebody the normal way. If you get turned down, oh well. You don't have to bash somebody in the head and choke them and all these horrific things just because you're an evil scumbag and you deserve to be behind bars the rest of your life. And I think worse should happen to you. Yeah, this guy showed no remorse. Like he doesn't care. You see how he was acting in that room, like whatever. But imagine being a parent and you raise your kid up. This woman had no idea when her daughter was 5 years old. She had no idea that 32 years later this would happen to her. You know, you're supposed to feel safe in your state, in your town, in your country. You're supposed to feel like the people who are supposed to have your back have your back. Joe Biden was the president. That's a conversation for another day of how he got there. But regardless of how he got in that seat, he's supposed to. Your job is supposed to be to keep the American people safe. We still expect you to do your job regardless of whether we agree with you or not. We, at the minimum, want you to keep people safe and make people feel like they can trust you to do the right thing. But that didn't happen for 4 years. We have far too many stories like this. Way too many. And real quick before I end this, another tragic story. 2 illegal aliens accused of sexually assaulting 14-year-old girl in Texas, in my state. A pair of illegal aliens accused of sexually assaulting a young girl in Montgomery County, Texas, just north of Houston. They have been arrested by Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and charged with second-degree felony sexual assault of a child. According to police, Santoyo Penaranda confessed last month to sexually assaulting the 14-year-old girl amid investigation by the Area Special Victims Unit. After physical evidence tied him to the crime, he was arrested and charged. The victim then told the police of another male who had been sexually assaulting her, identifying him as Morales Alarcon. An arrest warrant was subsequently issued for Morales Alarcon, and he was similarly charged. Way too many. It's happened too many times over the past few years. But yeah, I'm going to leave that right there. Very sad story, and it should have never happened. But thank you, President Trump, for doing what you can to secure the border, bringing those crossings down, and going after the violent criminals. Look, Obama went after the worst of the worst as well. Obama went hard after these people. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The numbers show that he did prioritize getting these violent criminals out of the country over the duration of his time in office. We didn't see a lot of stories like this. So, yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Take care.